What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Random Wrestling Talk, episode number 55. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to do with AEW news and rumors. We got some news about Edge possibly considering a run to AEW after WWE SummerSlam. This is a little crazy, folks. Um, we're gonna go over that. I got some news on that. There's possible brand split that might happen with AEW with Rampage. Um, there's a lot of stuff going on with AEW this last week or so. So I'm gonna go over that. Plus, also All Out and All In will be going back to back with each other week to week. So August 27th, we're gonna have All In, and then the week after that, we're gonna have the actual All Out pay-per-view, which I'm going to go over, give you guys some of my feedback. I did talk a little bit about it last week, but I'll go over it again. So there's a lot of stuff that I want to talk about. Seth Rollins news and WWE. I mean, we got some little bit of WWE news and so forth. So there's a lot to talk about here today. So I'm going to go over everything with you I got for news and rumors to talk about. Rachel Buck, MVP of the chat right now so far. My goodness, girl. What the fuck's wrong with you? Jesus Christ. All right. So, Rachel kick starts off saying, I heard JD from New York saying if you look at the date of Night of Champions, it looks like Roman Reigns will defend his title against Cody Rhodes at Night of Champions. And he thinks Cody will win the titles at Night of Champions. And after he beats Brock Lesnar at Backlash, and then Cody will go to Roman and ask for a rematch at Night of Champions, and he will win. I wouldn't deny that. I think that that would be probably the direction they're going to go with, more than likely. She also states that JD has a strong feeling that's why they changed the name from King of the Ring to Night of Champions. It's because it's the same date as Roman's 1,000 days reign as Universal Champion. Wow, what a fucked up reason to change the name of a fucking wrestling pay-per-view event. Thank you for the like, by the way. I greatly appreciate that, guys. Don't forget to hit the like button. It's really appreciated. Helps out the channel a lot. She also states, and I agree with him, that if you look at all the clues, I have a feeling with him that Cody is winning at Night of Champions instead of SummerSlam because the Usos are going to get kicked out of the bloodline. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that either. I even stated they were probably going to have him win at a major stadium show, such as like Saudi Arabia. I don't understand why they're going to do that. I just don't understand it. They could have just done it at WrestleMania and call it a day, but they refuse to do so. So I don't understand the point of all this. This is to have him struggle, work harder for the championship. I don't get it. I really don't. Personally, they could have just had him win at WrestleMania, in my personal opinion, had the bloodline break up and be done with all this nonsense. But hey, they want to save it for a Saudi show. Hey, it's their show. What am I going to do? Like I said on my SmackDown review earlier this afternoon, I'm just, there's no substance to these shows, these week-to-week shows. I love the pay-per-views. Don't get me wrong. I'm enjoying the pay-per-views. I mean, if we didn't have the WWE Network, I would probably go out and spend the money on the DVDs that we've had the last 3 pay-per-views for Royal Rumble, the Elimination Chamber, and WrestleMania coming up that they'll be releasing on DVD in like May or so. So, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely, if I didn't have the WWE Network and I didn't have access to that content in any way, shape, or form, I would definitely buy the DVDs. Now, don't get me wrong, I did go out and buy the Royal Rumble 2023 pay-per-view. I enjoyed that pay-per-view very much so I went out and bought it anyway, even though I have access to it. In case I ever do decide that I want to cancel the WWE Network and be done with it, I can always, purchase DVDs that I'm actually interested in, and own them outright, not having to worry about anything else. But I mean, you got the WWE Network. What's the point in wasting the money anyway? But don't get me wrong, these pay-per-views have been good. I've been enjoying them. But these week-to-week shows, my gosh, they're fucking terrible. They're just so lackluster. They're boring as fuck. So that's my biggest complaint about WWE right now. If they had their shows as entertaining as they do for the pay-per-views, I'd be all for it. But there's no stories here. There's nothing. It's just bland and boring. So let's go on with Rachel Buck and what she had to say. I agree with him that if you look at all the clues, okay, and the Usos will get kicked out of the bloodline because they will lose to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in 2 weeks, and Roman will just have Solo by his side, and JD thinks it is started with J and ends with J. Yeah, I would not put it past that either. I think that would be the smart decision. I think that was the direction they should have went with at WrestleMania, where Jey Uso fucked over Roman Reigns. There should have been some backstage segment during WrestleMania 39, and Roman's pissed off at the Usos for losing their tag team titles. And there's a lot of dissension going on leading up to the main event during that same night. And Jey Uso finally just says, fuck it. They have like a situation like they did at the Elimination Chamber. And instead of Jey Uso turning on, going ahead and knocking the shit out of Cody, he actually turns on Roman and costs him the World Heavyweight Championship belts, giving the titles to Cody. And that being that at that point, that would be where I would go with. I would have gone with that, and it would have worked. I don't understand all this other nonsense, but it is what it is, I guess. But I mean, Cody's winning the title regardless. There's no point in, doing the inevitable. I mean, it's going to happen. So let it just fucking happen already. I mean, come on. Saudi Arabia, I mean, it's not the proper place I would have booked. I would book fucking Cody to lose or win the titles anyway. That's fucking stupid. Personally, have him winning in Saudi Arabia. He couldn't win in his own country. Come on, fuck out of here. All right. So Rachel then says he thinks Jey Uso will help Cody Rhodes' win. Cody Rhodes wins the championship because he doesn't think he doesn't think that Roman will beat Roman clean. So yeah, I agreed with him that SmackDown was boring. By the time Night of Champions is on, I think it'll be better. Going to give WWE a chance because SmackDown wasn't that bad, had storylines. I think SmackDown was a complete bore fest for me. But whatever you say, Rachel, if you liked it, congratulations. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm not saying it was a complete disaster or anything, but it just was not that big of a deal to me. I mean, it really was not that big of a thing. She goes on and says, I think by time WWE sold to Endeavor, Vince will write for Raw, Triple H will write for SmackDown, and Shawn Michaels will write for NXT because I see where everything is going. Then I guess Raw ain't even worth anybody's time. If Vince is writing it and Triple H is writing SmackDown, everybody's going to be interested in SmackDown. Fuck Raw. Because Triple H at least gives you something to enjoy. I mean, like I said, SmackDown had some moments here and there that were good and other things I did not like. The wrestling was very dull, except for the main event, but the main event ended with the rinse and repeat thing. Solo Sikoa wins. So I don't know. It's whatever. She continues on saying because Vince makes Raw very terrible while Triple H makes SmackDown better than ever, and Sean is trying to make NXT better too. So I think it'll be just fine. After the sale, I'm going to give them a chance, but by next year, if they fail, I'm done. Okay. So anyway, I wish the clip on Twitter, guess who's started boxing? Yeah, I know, John Morrison. I saw that on NoDQ.com, Rachel. She states that John Morrison started boxing. He won his first match, and he had friends with him from AEW and WWE. And from what I read, Logan Paul, this might actually make you laugh once he becomes WWE champion. What do you think about that? Fuck no. Logan Paul, WWE champion? No fucking way. I don't want to see that shit. I do not want to see Logan Paul ever become WWE champion. That is like watching David Arquette become the fucking world heavyweight champion in WCW. Fuck celebrities becoming champions. They don't need to be champions at all. Fuck that shit. She goes on and says, no matter how many times people want him to forgive CM Punk because CM Punk is cancer to any company. So I don't think it will work. Kenny and Young Buck. Oh, wait. Oh, fuck. I skipped some stuff. Sorry about that. And I think Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks won't forgive CM Punk because they have an ego just like Cody Rhodes because they won't forgive him for what he did, no matter how many times. No matter how many times people want him to forgive CM Punk because CM Punk is cancer to any company, so I don't think it will work. Kenny and Young Bucks won't forgive CM Punk. Never. I'll be shocked if they do. I would be shocked if they forgave CM Punk. Look at John Morrison's stable for his boxing match. He was accompanied by LA Knight, Karrion Kross, Scarlett, Talia Valkyrie, Hackshaw, Jim Duggan, and Mojo Riley. Mojo Riley, holy fuck. That's from back in the day. Josh Barnett and others. Hold on 1 second. Let me roll down here. And Nick Khan teases an Edger third hour on Raw in the future. Yeah, I don't believe that bullshit for 1 second. Don't believe it for one single fucking second. Here's to Punk's return for All In. This is Matt 87 Eagle. Matt 87 Eagle also states Night of Champions is so stupid. There's no tournament in my WWE pal. Vince ruining Triple H's creative direction and blames the old man for bland weekly blame the old man for bland weekly shows. Ha, John Morrison has more wins in boxing than CM Punk in UFC. Matt 87 Eagle continues to say, don't believe anything Nick Khan says, or Khan Man says. Yes, 100%. I agree with you, Matt. That is definitely agreement in this establishment. Don't buy into anything WWE tells you until you see it delivered to you in action. Take no words for what's real. Only take what you see. If you see things that they're saying is true, then yes, then you can believe what they're saying. Otherwise, if the action's not put on the screen and creatively, then don't buy into anything they're fucking saying because it's a waste of your fucking time. Because all it is lies. Just plain fucking lies. No matter what no matter how which way you want to put it, or wish that WWE would actually do the right thing. Now we're gonna get into the very first story, which is the one on the headline here. For this live stream, we're gonna talk about the situation with AEW and All In and All Out. I honestly, like I said last week, I don't like this idea at all. The only thing you can build out of this is actually getting legitimate rematches for All Out. All Out is not going to be something you want to go back and purchase after All In. All In is really your all-out pay-per-view. So I'm not sure about this at all. I mean, unless you're going to turn All In to a house show with major pay-per-view matches on the show with no storyline build behind, and you make all your focal point storylines in the all-out pay-per-view. I mean, I guess you could do that, but still, that's kind of like, what's the point in going out and spending the money for $49.99 on 2 pay-per-views each? Don't understand the logic there. I think that is fucking bizarre. I would not do this. I would cancel All Out. I would put All Out on the back burner. I maybe postpone it for a later date, maybe like early October, maybe late September. At least you get a full month build of storylines going into that immediately after All In. But to actually do it 1 week after All In, no, I would not fucking do that, because that is going to make people either choose All In or All Out. Which one do you prefer to choose from? Because buying both of them is very expensive. And how are they going to establish this where it's not just rematch after rematch taking place on the All Out card? And let's be honest, All In seems more important than All Out. It's a stadium. It's a first time ever event for AEW to appear in a fucking stadium for everyone to watch. And I'm certain they're going to go all out crazy for this event. They're going to spend a fortune on this show. And they're going to have to go away with a ton of fucking profit. So, with all that being said, why would you take the risk of doing that and then have a pay-per-view immediately after that on top of it? I don't think that is a very smart decision. But hey, they're going to do what they're going to do. I'm just speaking my own viewpoint on this. I don't think it's smart. I think it's stupid. And have back-to-back pay-per-views 1 week after the other, I think is really retarded. Unless you're going to take the week off and have repeats of the same matchups. But still, again, that doesn't make any fucking sense to me. But whatever. Rachel Buck says a couple of comments here. While things can change, initial plans for tomorrow's WWE Raw include an angle that sees the Bloodline and Judgment Day decide to go after each other's enemies. We'll see Solo face off against the Blood. Okay, what the? See Solo face off against Rey Mysterio, while Owens and Zayn and Riddle will fight the Judgment Day in the main event. Maybe. I might be a little intrigued by that. Rachel Buck says that Cody Rhodes has had meetings regarding potential acting roles, including the potential Zelda role and Mortal Kombat movie role by Fightful. What the fuck? Him in Mortal Kombat? The hell? Oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. All right, anyway. Matt 87 Eagles says I'd be more worried about whether AEW can sell out a Wembley than the separate build between AEW in and All Out. I'll be honest with you, Matthew. I'm actually not that concerned. I think they will accomplish that. I think they will achieve what they're looking for. The tickets go on sale on May 5th, so they got at least 3 months to close the stadium out, or at least get a lot of people to show up for this event. They don't have to sell it out completely, but for him to actually, get enough people to fill in that stadium so it doesn't look terrible with seats showing that there's no one in it. I mean, that's a success in my book. Selling it out, I'm not expecting them to do. I think that's a huge fucking expectation that I don't think really, I don't even think WWE can accomplish that right now at this point, unless they give you the greatest fucking build in the world. WrestleMania sold out easily because for 2 nights in a row because they knew Vince McMahon was not involved at that time. And the tickets went on sale, I think, in August or September. So, I mean, at that point in time, people were fucking clamoring at getting tickets right out of the gate and, going to see the event. So that's what they did. But this is a different situation. They've been around for only 4 years. So, I mean, give them a break. I'm not expecting a full out sold a stadium. I mean, this is not an arena. We're not talking about 10,000 seats right out of the gate. We're talking about 80,000 fucking seats that probably could be filled up. So I'm not going to go ahead and put my standards that high because that's just asking for way too much and being way too demanding. But for them to, get like 50, 60,000 people in that fucking bitch, yeah, that I would say is a fucking success. And then getting like 200 to 300,000 pay-per-view buys, yeah, that I would say that's a success as well. Because usually their pay-per-view buys are around 100,000, I think. So if they get like 200 to 300,000 buys on the pay-per-views as well, they did something really well. I mean, they succeeded immensely. But I'm more concerned about the bill between All In and All Out, honestly. But I mean, they can't get at least 50,000, maybe 40,000, the least amount, 40,000 people. They can't get 40,000 people to show up at Wembley, then yeah, I would say that's a fucking failure beyond belief. That was a complete bomb. Rachel Buck says there was discussion of Rhodes being interested in the Johnny Cage role in Mortal Kombat or a role in Zelda, per Fightful Select. Don't give a shit with Fightful Select. They've been reporting a lot of stuff lately that doesn't seem to hit in reality. It seems just a bunch of rumors and BS. It's nothing to take seriously or even take it as noteworthy news. So I wouldn't give a flying fuck what Fightful Select have to say. Matt A7 Eagle says, well, you want TK to have a successful first stadium debut show. We definitely want to see the Elite versus Punk and FTR as the main event for All In. Huh? Not me. I want to see the World Heavyweight Champion be the main event. Fuck Punk and FTR against the Elite. I mean, that should be a co-main event match, but not the main event of the show. Yeah, fucking break, dude. World Heavyweight Championship or BCC and the Elite in a fucking War Games match. Blood and guts. But I don't think we're going to see that at that show. I think it's going to be in Double or Nothing more than likely. Chances are. But yeah. I'm a little concerned about that pay-per-views being so close to each other. Now, there is a report going around about Edge and what he's going to do after his contract expires in WWE. And there's talks going around whether or not Edge is actually going to possibly join with AEW. If that happens, man, they're going to get some fucking... You talk about, oh, CM Punk. No, people are going to be interested in watching AEW with Edge on it. I can promise you that. Especially when he's been doing a lot of great stuff in WWE at his age and has been successful at it. And then bringing that over to AEW, oh, fuck yeah. There's going to be a fucking raise in the viewers. I can guarantee you that. So in late 2022, it was reported that Edge has signed a 3-year contract in 2020 with time possibly being added due to the injury. There has been interest, or there's been internet speculation about 2023 being Edge's final year in wrestling, and Twitter account at WrestleVotes voted or noted the following to GiveMeSport.com about his future. If he retires this summer in Toronto, I wouldn't be surprised. I would be surprised if he finishes his current deal and then goes to AEW. WWE would be surprised too, even though You've got the Christian factor. They could team one more time and wrestle each other one more time. I'd be surprised if he wrestles past WWE. WWE would be very surprised as well. So in his WWE 24 documentary, Edge mentioned how he was contacted by another wrestling company after the 2019 SummerSlam event. Edge ended up signing a new WWE contract and made his in-ring return at the 2020 Royal Rumble pay-per-view match. So, yeah, that's a big even just speculation alone, guys, with the possible thought of Edge possibly going to AEW, talks about him and Christian teaming together, which is a very valid possibility since Christian is part of the AEW roster. I would be really, really intrigued by that. Fuck, man, I'd be intrigued by Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy teaming one more time against Edge and Christian in a one-on-one match. I would fucking love that shit. So, hell yeah. I'd be clamoring at the bit to see Edge come to AEW and perform. That would be awesome. But if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'm not surprised by it, like the report stated. Rachel Buck says, in spite of Hollywood news, Cody doesn't plan on being part-timer in wrestling, and any projects he does would go around his WWE schedule. So he's more interested in competing with WWE for WWE than actually going ahead and doing Hollywood movies. Okay, well, I can respect that, but they're going to want him to dedicate his time to the movie, not his WWE wrestling career. So it's got a little bit of dilemma there. Rachel Buck said, considering the crowd reactions for Dominic Mysterio, do you think he has surpassed MJF as a heel character? Rachel, are you fucking crazy? Hell no, he hasn't surpassed MJF as a heel character. MJF is the top fucking heel in the business outside of Roman Reigns. Please, spare me that comment. Jesus Christ, man. I know it was a question, but my gosh, Rachel. That's a really retarded question. Matt 87 Eagle says Edge can put over MJF because he sure as hell not winning no world title. No, but he could win in WWE before he leaves. That's a possibility. And then retire as champion like he did when he left the company with his neck injury. Craig Ward Washik, I believe is how you pronounce that. I apologize if I mispronounce it. Or Wisick. Craig Wisick, I've seen the narrative pushed online about Dominic over MJF. It's ridiculous. Yes, I agree. I don't know where the hell that rumor's coming in or where people see that, but damn, they must be smoking some crack. Rachel Buck says Nia Jax leaving a door open for a WWE return. I don't care if Nia Jax ever comes back. She showed up at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view this year, and she was not that big of a deal in my book. So I don't give a fuck. Matt 87 Eagle says no one is topping MJF or Roman as top heels in their respective companies. I totally agree with you, Matt. If anyone is looking at that as a possibility, they're insane. Roman and MJF provide the best work in each promotion, and they do excellent job at what they do. Don't get me wrong. I think MJF's booking creative has been a little bit repetitive, but he's also very great on the mic. He's decent in the ring. He provides you all what you're looking for as an entertaining heel and someone that you hope to see get their fucking ass kicked and lose the championship. Now, we have to pick the right person to do that. I think the right person is possibly Adam Cole. There's other superstars maybe along the way that we might see as a possible person to take the title off of MJF later on at the end of this year. But at this point in time, nobody gives a shit about who beats MJF because MJF should be staying champion until the end of this year into 2024. Rachel Buck is also stating that Mandy Rose has her eyes on Baywatch remake. Baywatch has already been remade, I think, in 2016 or 2017 with Dwayne The Rock Johnson. So I don't know why they do another remake, but whatever. All right. Let me get to a situation AEW that's been discussed. This is pretty insane. This is just the situation with CM Punk. There's talks about what they're going to do about CM Punk, how they're going to make him return. So I'm going to talk about that. But give me 1 second to talk to you about this report that blows me the fuck away. AEW reportedly toying with the idea of a roster split. Now, my attitude about the roster split is actually I agree with it, but for the reason to do it is just insane. To separate the stars from each other that don't like CM Punk. That's the direction and ploy for why they would do a brand split. What? Oh my God. Who the fuck cares? The roster either gets along with him or they don't get along with him. That's all that's going to matter. That's what should matter here. And it's not. We're caring about the fucking CM Punk getting along with the superstars, or the superstars getting along with CM Punk, and he wants to separate the ones that don't like CM Punk and have them wrestle on Rampage? Well, first off, folks, Rampage is going to have to be 2 hours. 2, they're going to have to be on TBS because AEW on TNT is the second thought of thing on TNT. I mean, every fucking time there's a playoffs for NBA basketball, there's anything going on with any actual sport, they're put on the back burner. They're forgotten about. So that's a fucking huge problem in my book. So TBS is probably the best place to go to at this point. And on top of that, they don't have to worry about shuffling around time slots or anything on TBS. TBS is just your normal everyday station. The only thing they probably have to worry about is baseball. Baseball generally shows the playoffs on TBS. So that's about the only time they're going to have to worry about things interfering with what they're trying to do. I mean, they could work around that. They could have the show air before the baseball game happens. They could have it happen after the baseball game. They could switch it to another day where they have the ability to actually do something on there for TBS, but they need to stay on TBS itself. Sorry, I'm just hearing some noise in the background. I'm trying to figure out where the hell the noise is coming from. But personally, I think that this whole situation with CM Punk is idiotic, that they're going to split up the roster because of him specifically. That is retarded. I think the main reason they should do the split is because they got a big roster. It's taking away a lot of people's opportunities to display their ability and do what they can do on the shows and actually build up their characters and make them more important than just good wrestlers on the show. So that's my viewpoint on that. I hope that that's the direction they go with because of that reason, not because of some bullshit. Oh, it's CM Punk. We got to bow down to see fuck CM Punk. Like I said before, I think Edge will draw more ratings than CM Punk because Edge has been working at a very high level for his age. He has not been getting injured that much, given the having him not wrestle week after week after week. But we do see him wrestle from time to time on Monday Night Raw. And that's a plus. That's a good thing. He doesn't have to wrestle every week. He just shows up on the show, does his segment, cuts his promo, or does an attack or something like that. That's fine. That's okay. That's not demanding or, overworking his body at his age, but CM Punk is just so fucking injury prone. Why are you going to invest all your time in that shit? I don't get it. But hey, Tony Khan sees that there's value in CM Punk. I don't see value in CM Punk if he's getting injured all the time whenever he wins a fucking world title. He's won the world title twice and has gotten major injuries from that both times. So I don't know what to assume here. And not to mention, he's been causing problems with the VIPs or the vice presidents or whatever the fuck you want to call these fucking guys with the elite. I mean, he's had nothing but problems with them. And if they leave AEW, let me tell you something. They leave AEW for WWE, AEW is going to be in huge shit up to their eyes, man. They are going to have the hardest fucking struggle in their lives if they lose those three guys, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. I am telling you 100%, they lose those guys, they are in deep fucking shit. All I have to say on that. All right, let's go ahead and read some of the comments in chat, mostly just by Met87 Eagle and Rachel Buck. Rampage is dead. There's talks about a Saturday show. Yeah, Collision. Collision is a 1 hour base show. I don't particularly care. It looks to me like WCW Saturday Night Wrestling, which I never watched except for when they didn't have Nitro at the time in the 1990s until 95. I watched WCW on Saturdays. But other than that, I would watch Monday Night Raw mostly. And Nitro. Once fucking Nitro showed up in 95, but whatever. Anyway, Rachel Buck says Eric Bischoff on CM Punk. I don't particularly think he's that talented. I think he's overblown. I think he's highly overrated. Well, Eric Bischoff thinks that Tony Khan's a schmuck, and I think Eric Bischoff's a fucking retard sometimes, but whatever. John Morrison, this is Rachel Buck, says John Morrison just called out KSI. Okay, I don't care. Don't give a flying fuck. She also states that Paul Heyman looked in the Usos' direction when he said that the Tribal Chiefs is losing patience with the two of you on SmackDown. Okay. Well, yeah, it's obvious it's going to happen. The split is happening with the bloodline. It's coming. Matt87 Eagle says, I seriously doubt WWE will see Edge in AEW, but I could be wrong. I hope you're wrong, man. I'd love to see Edge in AEW after WWE run. Matt87 Eagle then states that just don't hold your breath on it. Well, obviously, you'd suffocate and die. Rachel Buck says, Rhea Ripley, I want my singles match with Beth Phoenix. That would be a good match. And it would make sense because what Rhea Ripley did to Beth Phoenix has a good reason for that match to even occur. So I would be all in for that idea. Craig Woodchick. Apologize if I'm mispronouncing the name, man. I'm trying my best to pronounce it right. I hope I am. Cody leaving was a big blow. If the Bucks and Kenny Omega leave, that also means guys like Hangman Page and others will leave too. It would be wild. Yeah. I don't know if Hangman would leave. I think Hangman probably would be smart enough to stay. I don't think he's going to jump ship to WWE. At least I would hope not, because I don't think WWE would book him correctly. I think AEW is the proper place for him. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, they would make it in WWE because they are such a bigger piece of AEW and what made AEW so great. So taking away those guys, those core three guys besides Cody Rhodes, is the important factor for AEW. Now, if AEW was to ever lose those guys and still bounce back, then we know AEW is going to stay around for a very, very long time. But the chances of that happening, I don't know, man. I really don't. But I hope that is the case. I hope that those three guys stay with AEW because let's be honest, they're wrestlers. They're not sports entertainers. They give you great wrestling with some decent storylines. And that's all we really need in pro wrestling. We don't need some fucking over the top bullshit. Now, emotional feeling in these storylines would be appreciated by AEW, like we've gotten with the Bloodline. I will give WWE that. But these over dramatical, dumb fucking storylines, I'm not sure about. I'm not really keen on that so much. So I'm not sure what to say about that. But I think if AEW can give us what we were getting in the beginning, which, by the way, Craig, if you weren't here or you didn't watch the on demand of this live stream, I talked about DDP. I think it was last week or the week before of DDP stating that Cody Rhodes in the very beginning was actually creating the storylines for AEW. And he felt that that was a huge blow to AEW because not because of Cody wrestling, but because he was able to book really good storylines and intrigue people to continue to watch the shows. That's why we were all going, what's going on with creative? Why are we not seeing these great, storylines being built up on these shows like we did before? And that was because Cody he was involved in those storylines. That's a huge fucking blow. Not because Cody could win a wrestling match or give us all these great memories to remember him by in AEW with all these other performers that he could have worked with, but what he could do behind the scenes, writing the shows out. Tony Khan is not giving us that. He's booking good matches. I will give him that, but his stories are just fucking bland as shit, dude. And that's where the issue lies with Tony Khan at this point. Daniel says, hey, man, what's been going on? Not much, man. We've been here for about 40 minutes. You did leave a comment there a few moments ago. So we've been here for about 30 minutes plus doing this live stream. Hope you've been enjoying your day and enjoying your weekend. Rachel Buck says the hope within WWE is that Johnny Gargano can repair his shoulder injury with physical therapy rather than surgery. Yes, I actually do have a report on that. I will discuss that in just a moment after I go over AEW news that I'd like to talk to you guys about. Matt 87 Eagle says if the Elite leave WWE, expect Omega to be in a multi-month rivalry with The Miz and the Young Bucks to be split between Raw and SmackDown because Vince hates tag teams. Good to know, Matt. Good talk. Anyway, Daniel says, I could see the Young Bucks have a banger dream match with the Usos. Of course, man. I mean, the Usos and the Young Bucks is probably the biggest dream match in tag team wrestling history in the last 10 years. I mean, the Young Bucks in Ring of Honor were fucking putting on banger matches with the Red Dragon. They were putting on matches with fucking other major tag teams. I think they even had a great match. They had a great match with the Hardy Boys. I mean, they've had some amazing matches, in their career. But the Usos and them, it never happened. I think they would have a great match. Put it in a ladder match, I think they'd fucking kill it. Anyway, let's just one moment, guys. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, let's go ahead and continue with the show. Then we'll close up shop here. Sorry about that. But yeah, there's reports going around that they want to split up the rosters because of CM Punk. So they want to try the same thing that WWE's done. And I think that's just utterly ridiculous. But anyway, let's move on to some other stories here. All right. We got a couple others. I'm going to go through these real quick. Oh yeah, Kenny Omega. This is some important stuff since we were talking about Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. There's actually a report going around that Kenny Omega reportedly still has yet to sign a new AEW contract despite rumors. During an interview with Nick Heisman of houseofwrestling.com, Conan said the following about Kenny Omega not being booked for the upcoming AAA Triple Mania event. Originally, we were going to bring in Omega, but he was still negotiating with AEW, and he wasn't sure if he was going to stay or not. So we couldn't commit. We couldn't comment. And commit. So we couldn't commit, and he didn't want to come here until he signed. So that was out the window. Boom. I'm assuming Omega has re-signed with AEW. I never really asked him, but there are plans for him in the future. So I'm thinking he already signed, but he wasn't sure if he was going to stay, and WWE was talking to him, so we couldn't get him to commit. Dave Meltzer of F4WOnline.com later said that nothing has changed regarding Omega's AEW status. Conan did an interview, and it got people thinking that Kenny Omega had signed a new contract, and Kenny Omega is under contract with AEW. His contract was extended because he was out for I think 9 months due to injuries. So I believe that he is under contract until around November or December, and that's the situation, but there's no new deal that has been signed. Oh shit. So he's making up for where he lost the time in because of the issue he was having with his injuries. So they're having him make it up on his contract and extending it. Sorry about that. There's some idiots outside in my apartment building riding really fast in their cars. Anyway, it's believed that AEW is working on signing the Young Bucks and Omega to a new long-term contract well before they become free agents. So there you go. Still issues going on with that, but they're in the works of getting that fixed and resolved at that point in time. So there you go. All right. Let's move on to some other news here. Bully Ray comments on Jeff Hardy. Like, I don't think anyone gives a shit about Bully Ray and his commentary, because his commentary most of the time sucks. As seen during the April 12th, 2023 edition of AEW Dynamite, Jeff Hardy made his first appearance on television since he was arrested for the DUI in June of 2022. While speaking on Busted Open Radio, Bully Ray commented on his former rival returning to AEW television. Truth be told, Jeff better not fuck this opportunity up, because Jeff's been given a lot of opportunities. This probably will be the final opportunity for him. Listen, the world of pro wrestling does not present nearly as much temptation these days as it did 20 years ago. So if Jeff were to have another slip up, I would say that's mostly on Jeff going out of his way to look for the slip up, as opposed to the slip of just being around you at all times. So he's really hard on Jeff Hardy. He thinks Jeff Hardy has been messing around way too much. And I think that that is true. He has been given tons of opportunities. TNA has given him a ton of opportunities. WWE has given him a shitload of opportunities. His last run with them, I would question as an opportunity and look more like just keeping him from being a part of AEW. Like Matt Hardy had his opportunity with AEW. They saw some success there. But I mean, other than that, I mean, Jeff Hardy's been given a ton of opportunities with WWE. They were going to give him Money in the Bank in 2008 at WrestleMania 24. They were going to give him a world championship run that was going to mean something. I mean, this guy has had numerous opportunities given to him, and he's just squandered it pretty much. Craig Woodcheck says that Jeff Hardy must be really nice guy who is very much liked by most to be given that many chances. Well, I don't see him as a terrible dude. I don't think he's probably a hard guy to work with. I just think he has a lot of personal issues he has to deal with, such as like addiction to drugs in some case, alcohol issues, and so forth. Can I blame him for being addicted to those things? With what he does to his body? Probably not. But at the same time, it's costing him the ability to do what he does. Personally, I think he should be retired at this point. So should his brother. I mean, his brother has done less damage to his body compared to Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy's wrestling style is way too dangerous, especially at his age. If you go back to 2010 TNA, Jeff Hardy, he was all about fuck throwing my body around for you fans. I'm the Antichrist of professional wrestling. I'm this and I'm that. I'm not going to kill myself anymore. And in his matches, you saw him doing less dangerous stunts. You saw him doing more in the ring base type wrestling than anything else. So I personally think that role was good for his body more than anything else. And I loved his heel turn. I don't know why everybody else hated it and thought it sucked, but I fucking loved it. I thought it was amazing. Him with Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff, something you probably would never see on any wrestling promotion outside of TNA at that time. And seeing him turn heel and turning on Rob Van Dam the way he did was fucking beautiful. I loved it. It was fucking great. And it was their WrestleMania pay-per-view that they had, Bound for Glory in 2010. I thought it was excellent. Loved it. Thought it was great. So Daniel says, do you see the Hardy Boys retire soon and eventually end up in the WWE Hall of Fame for their hard work? Yeah, I do. I mean, there's no doubt about it. They don't make it in the Hall of Fame. I don't know what the hell WWE is doing. They've done nothing to WWE. They just didn't work out business-wise. But there was nothing extraordinarily bad that, they did to, backstab WWE in any sense. If anything, WWE backstabbed them creatively. So, whatever. Matt A7 Eagle says Victory Road is a black eye for me whenever I think of Jeff Hardy. Yeah, definitely. That was the hampering of his role as a heel that fucked him up royally, and I think killed his heel run in not AEW, TNA. And then on top of it, TNA lost trust in him, brought him back 2 years later, had him win the world championship and all that jazz. But that was really unprofessional by Jeff Hardy. I don't know why he came there all fucked up and intoxicated on whatever he was on. But yeah, I did not like that either. That was a real slap in the face of TNA and Dixie Carter. Which, by the way, I heard Dixie Carter was an amazing boss. Kurt Angle worked with TNA from 2006 all the way up to 2016. So he was with them for 10 years. Almost. And he enjoyed working there. He's had a lot of great things to say about Dixie Carter and what she did in the company. He also enjoyed what they did there in TNA. Liked the work schedule, was very good. They worked 2 nights in a row for a full period of an entire month. So they only had to work 2 days out of the month, and that's it. I believe that's how he worded it. I might be wrong about that, but their work schedule was very light. I think that's awesome. So, I mean, kudos to them, but unfortunately, they didn't work out and they went in the toilet. Rachel Buck says Solo versus Rey Mysterio, Dakota Kai versus Bianca Belair, Bronson Reed and Bobby Lashley rivalry continues to heat up, and Candice LeRae and Mia Yim. Okay, terrific. I guess she's reporting about Monday Night Raw tomorrow. Craig Woodcheck, it's a damn shame what happened to TNA. Used to enjoy their product, but back in the day, yeah. No kidding. I actually watched their old Impact Wrestling shows on the Impact Plus app. So I do watch that shit in my own free leisure, my own free time. So I do enjoy the old TNA before they became just Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling today, fuck. They don't wrestle in front of practically anybody. Fucking Universal Studios had more people in the audience than where they're wrestling now. I mean, they have a few hundred people, but fucking Universal Studios could hold up to 1,000 to 2,000 people in an audience, which made it look better instead of having a few hundred, like 200-300 people. That's just pathetic looking. It's a horrible look to the company. My personal opinion. Anyway. All right. Moving on. All right. Believe that CM Punk. Let's talk about CM Punk now. Believe that CM Punk is probably going to be making his return to wrestling. During his podcast, Dax Hardwood confirmed that CM Punk misses wrestling and wants to come back. In regards to Punk potentially returning to AEW, Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful.com noted that Punk has expressed a willingness to work in a number of ways, including with the Elite. Dave Meltzer of F4WOnline.com stated the following about Punk during the Wrestling Observer Radio. The big thing was the promo on Adam Page, which was totally unprofessional. There's no defending it, but because he was never punished, which is one of the problems with this, is because he was never punished for it, it created a lot of heat that got worse and worse and worse. If he had been told, if like he had been done that promo, and Tony would have said, dude, you're going against the script, going to sit out for a couple of weeks, I think that at that point either he would have pouted and quit and gone home, or he would have not pouted and quit and gone home, and maybe this thing would have been alleviated. I don't know which would have happened, but it didn't happen that way. So it got worse and worse and worse. And so now we're at a situation where it's like, obviously, he's probably going to be back. And if they want to work and he's going to be back, there's ways to do it. But going in there and trying to make the other people look unprofessional is probably the worst way to do it, unless you're trying to just kind of like pressure them out of the company. If that's the idea, then again, we'll have to wait and see how it all turns out. This is clearly not good faith, because it was good faith, we wouldn't hear anything about it. They would settle it, and we would see an angle out of nowhere that would shock everyone, or at least or maybe we talk about it or whatever. And now the angle was coming, and if that happens, that's fine. But as long as they're talking about it, it tells me that, number one, they have no deal to do it, and number two, by doing it publicly, they're not really looking at doing it. They're looking at playing a public relations game over it. And that's what they had to say about that. Now, I do believe I had saved or bookmarked a report about when he is potentially coming back. Yeah, here it is. All right. Details regarding a tentative plan for CM Punk to make his return to AEW television. As previously noted, it's believed that CM Punk is probably going to be back making his return to wrestling. Punk suffered a torn tricep injury during his All Out 2022 match against Moxley, but his return AEW future was in question. His backstage altercation with the Elite. In an update, Fightful Select noted that there have been tentative plans put in place for Punk to make his AEW return. The belief is that while nothing is set in stone, plans can change. Punk could be returning in time for the June 21st, 2023 edition of AEW Dynamite in Chicago. There were reportedly pitches made to announce Punk's appearance well ahead of time. It's being said that Punk hopes to work with the Elite, but no contact has apparently been made between the two sides. There will possibly be a meeting between Punk and Chris Jericho to gauge the potential of them working together. So June 21st seems to be the place where everybody is looking at. And the possibility, which makes sense because of the situation. I don't know when Forbidden Door is taking place, but if this is before Forbidden Door, I'd believe that. If it's after, I don't think so. I think he's going to return sooner than June 21st. I don't know when they're having Forbidden Door, but I think Punk wants to be part of Forbidden Door. He wanted to be part of it last year, and he didn't have that opportunity because of an injury to his foot. So now he's got an injury to his tricep. So I'm not sure. We'll see. All right. Let's go over some reports on WWE stuff, mainly just Seth Rollins information. Let's go over this. There's two reports. One was a rumor, and then one was debunked about that rumor. So I'll go over that with you guys, and then we'll pretty much close up shop here. I will read what you sent, Rachel Buck. Chill the fuck out. I'm doing the reports here. You see? I'm doing reports. I'm not ignoring you. I will read it. I will read it when I'm ready to read the comments in the chat. So chill the fuck out, okay? Please. Thank you. Former WWE writer believes Seth Rollins was legitimately pissed about Raw after WrestleMania segment. As seen during the Raw after WWE WrestleMania 39 broadcast, Seth Rollins came to the ring but then left without saying a word during the commercial break. Rollins was seen having words with the ringside crew and ended up throwing down a mic that he was holding before the break ended. Fans on social media have debated whether the segment was scripted or as originally intended. During his podcast, former WWE writer Freddie Prinze Jr. and co-host Jeff Dye discussed their perspective from being at ringside for the show. Dye said the following: they played a commercial during his intro, and then we could kind of hear him freaking out on some production people. He was going, why is there a commercial? You couldn't really hear what he was saying. You couldn't you could tell he was mad. So, yeah, that's kind of crazy. But then there was a later report stating and debunking the idea that he's possibly leaving WWE. And that's real simple, and I can read you why. And then I'll go over Johnny Gargano and what's going on with him. So update on Seth Rollins' WWE future after allegedly walking out of Raw. The past few days have seen some discourse online that Seth Rollins was unhappy with WWE following the booking on Raw after Mania, and they report that he basically will be staying with WWE regardless. He's never leaving WWE for like an AEW or anything like that. simply because it gives him the opportunity to spend more time with his family, be around his wife a lot, Becky Lynch. So unless he can convince Becky Lynch to walk out on WWE with him, we're never going to see Seth Rollins go somewhere else. He wants to be with his family. He cares about his family first. I think that's great. I think that is an awesome thing by Seth Rollins, and that he gives a shit about his wife and his kids more than anything else. And he's putting his family first instead of his career first. I think Seth Rollins at this point, since we've gotten back to fans being in the audience for the last 2 years, Seth Rollins has been producing some great stuff. He's been doing very well with what he's been given, and he's been very entertaining. I think he is something that we should, be pushing the narrative that Seth Rollins should be the next guy involved in becoming a world heavyweight champion at some point. So I mean, there's always that possibility. I'm not sure if it's going to happen or not. I would love the brand split to occur and we see the two world titles split from each other, giving him a better opportunity to maybe actually win a world championship instead of keeping him in the back burner. So I just hope that he gets a proper push and is given more, a better place within WWE, because I think he's been producing some great stuff overall, especially wrestling wise. He's been unbelievable. Rachel Buck, she says Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green, Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar is segment number 6. Lashley versus Theory. Oh, Lashley versus Theory is number 6. Miz versus Rollins. What? Oh my gosh, they're gonna have Rollins come back to face the Miz. Wow. They've already had Miz and Rollins face each other. Owens, Zayn, Riddle are gonna compete against Baylor, Priest, and Dominic in the main event. Like I said, I think that is a good main event. It's something different for a change. So, I think that that's awesome. Rachel Buck says, will you be happy if Drew went to AEW? I don't think he's going to AEW, but if he does, I would totally be all for it. She also states Seth Rollins does get angry sometimes. Yeah, I mean, obviously, how can you blame him? I mean, the working environment's fucking terrible there. He doesn't know what he's doing from one second to the next. And secondly, I mean, guy was given a segment where he's standing there just going, whoa, he's doing his sing his song where everyone follows along with the song. I mean, who cares, man? That's all they had for him after WrestleMania win. That's ridiculous. Greg Woodcheck says Seth's one of those guys who defend WWE even when they were producing some of the worst content. So I'd be shocked if he ever left. Yeah, same here. But I mean, he hasn't been given the best stuff. I mean, his storyline with Logan Paul was okay, but the guy should be in the world championship picture, having matches with big names, something of that kind of sort. I mean, Logan Paul, John Cena would have been a great match for a WrestleMania. I would have been okay with that. John Cena's, pretty much done with wrestling. He just shows up to put somebody over for the sake of putting someone over. Austin Theory and Seth Rollins have wrestled too many times, so that match would have been terrible to book since it's been done so many different times. So I mean, he didn't really have much to choose from, which is sad because, like I said, he's been doing the best work out of most people. And he's nowhere near Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Cody Rhodes, the Usos, and Roman Reigns. He is nowhere near any of those guys, and he's been producing some great stuff with what he's been given. So I think he's been underrated and not used properly on these shows. So I think there should be some appreciation given to Seth Rollins at this point. But anyway, guys, that's all I have to say at this time. If you enjoyed this video, this live stream, please, by all means, hit the like button. I greatly appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. and leave a comment down below. I'll definitely thank you very much for that. I will reach back out to you if you leave a comment. And thank you for watching, and have a great night, guys. Oh, and one other comment was made by Matt87 Eagle. Says I'd be mad too if an old man drunk on power was running WWE in the ground and 2 world championships weren't held hostage by one wrestler. Give Rollins a better direction. 100% right, Matt. I agree with you. Anyway, guys, again, thank you for watching. Hit the like button if you like the video. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And leave a comment down below, and I'll definitely get back to you on that. Thank you guys very much for watching. Have a great night, guys. Bye.